So now they're saying that cheese is sexist? I'm sorry. I've heard a lot of things, but that's something I don't really think is true. Make me a sandwich, bitch. But seriously, someone is saying that cheese is sexist. Of all the things I've heard in this summer, cheese is sexist is probably the last thing. Gamergate is about ethics of gaming journalism. Oh my god! You have betrayed me. Put your teeth on the curb. This is the end, friend.
Gotta keep it together when your friends come back. Always checking the weather, but the
Wait, PETA said that she's a sexist? Oh, then I don't give a fuck.
That's why I called to make sure they use PETA-approved hair care products.
PETA-approved hair products? Let me guess, they replace your shower water with animal blood if you try switch into L'Oreal?
Hey everyone, Irishman Rants here, and I think I should clear up something. I am a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian since I was the age of 6. I don't know what triggered it, but I feel it has something to do with Shark Tale. But either way, I learned at that young age that the meat of the chicken nuggets I was eating was actually from something that used to have a heartbeat. So I decided to stop eating animals. Now, I have no problem with other people eating animals. It's just a personal choice to not eat anything that used to be a mammal or a fish. Now, I have no problems with veganism. You know, I think it's a very bold move to decide to not eat anything that comes from animals or animal byproducts. But I'm just gonna say this right now. Most of the vegans that I've met are complete fucking assholes. Except for Anthony Fantano. I understand if you want to be a vegan, and honestly, good on you. You're deciding to not hurt animals in any sort of way, but lighten the fuck up, alright? My best friend in college used to have a roommate who was a very hardcore vegan. Like, she didn't eat anything, except for she drank this weird filtered water that had this, like, yellow celery stick in it. You wanna know the sad part? I still tried to fuck her. Vegans need to learn that not everyone is going to be the same as you. They're kind of just like Christian fundamentalists, in a way. Like, you're treating veganism as a religion. And when you treat anything that isn't religious like a religion, you need to cut that shit out. And I think that might be one of the reasons why PETA is just such a bad organization. It is the Antifa of animal rights groups. It is to animal rights what autism speaks is to autism, and what crash override is to anti-harassment. The organization was founded in 1980, and it was basically this organization that just wanted to stop animal abuse, give animals more rights than they had, and just basically stick up for animals whenever possible. They were very much against factory farm, puppy mills, all that good shit. They also make commercials like this.
You look at me when I'm talking to you! Look at me! Is this what you want? You use this woman? Look at what you made me do! Look at me! Shut your mouth! What did you got? No! Yeah! Cry!
You're so stupid! At least the ASPCA is trying to make you feel bad about animal abuse. They're just trying to say that you're an asshole in these commercials. And now, of course, PETA is acting a lot more idiotic this week by suggesting that eating cheese could be considered sexist, and anyone who eats it is sexist and a rape apologist. I can't make this shit up if I tried. And I'm a pretty creative guy. I make movies about people fucking mongooses. But, anyway, let's read this article about cheese being sexist. Alright, let's go. Why cheese is the most sexist thing you can eat. Okay, actually, before I read this, I'm pretty parched, so let me just take a drink. I had some good strawberry milk. Alright, let's read. As feminists, we're working to put more women in office and in corner offices. We fight for equal pay, tax-free feminine hygiene products, an end to sexual harassment, funding for women's sports, and streets safe enough for us to walk alone. You know, those are all pretty noble causes. I think even one of them is already solved. It was solved back in 1964. Or so the skeptics have told me. We push for strong role models who don't objectify women on television and in movies. Alright, we get it. You don't like Mad Men. Who cares? We work to end sex trafficking, slavery, genital mutilation, and honor killings. Oh, wait, don't bring that up, because then there's going to be a bunch of alt-right people saying, "You're describing women in the Middle East." We rail against sexism in all its many forms, except, perhaps, when it comes to what's on our plates. Are you describing yourself? I mean, I know PETA loves to kill the fuck out of some animals, but, you know, is this just bad writing? Can food really be sexist? No! Yes, when it's the product of imprisonment, rape, reproductive control, kidnapping, and abuse.
What about when an Antifa member stabbed a police horse in the neck with a knife? Was the horse a racist Trump supporter?
Yes. You see, the horse is a tool of the police.
Contrary to popular belief, female cows produce milk only when they're pregnant or nursing. Yes, but do brown cows make chocolate milk? And do they get pulled over by the police? They make milk for the same reason that human women do, to feed their babies. Or if it's a porno. I'm pretty sure there's something out there that's like breastfeeding porn. Why the fuck did I just bring that up? Cows who are imprisoned on dairy farms are forcibly impregnated through artificial insemination again and again on rape racks. Rape racks. Rape racks. Rape racks. Oh, you know, baby, I'm gonna rape that rack, baby. Oh, I'm gonna rape that rack. Those titties. All for your milk, cheese, and yogurt. Well, let me just say that this is some delicious rape. Oh my god, I can just feel the sexual assault down my throat. PETA investigations have shown that farm workers kick, whip, and jab laboring mother cows and others who have just given birth. That's the American Health Care Act for you. Eyewitnesses also filmed workers attaching chains to unborn calves' legs when their mothers had difficulty giving birth and yanking the babies out of their birth canals, causing the laboring cows to cry out. Wow. Why don't we just do that with our kids? That sounds very efficient. The mothers are not allowed to nurse their babies. Instead, their infants are stolen from them, usually within hours of birth. Male calves, who are considered worthless to the dairy industry. Okay, yeah, that's pretty sexist. You know, male calves have a lot of potential. I'm gonna write a memo about the cow industry. They're ignoring these male calves and just focusing on female calves and the brown calves. You know, it's all just this affirmative action bullshit. I'm writing a memo about this. Male calves who are considered worthless to the dairy industry are often sold veal. Otherwise, they're raised to be killed for beef. Females are typically fed a milk replacement and eventually sentenced to the same sad fate as their mothers. Like, if this is pretty fucked up. Like, this is something that Joaquin Phoenix would really hate. But how does this make cheese sexist? Is it because they artificially inseminate mothers. Maybe they wanted it, you know. Maybe the cows dress slutty. After their calves have been taken away from them, the mother cows are hooked up to milking machines 2 or 3 times a day through the use of intense milking regimens and sometimes drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids!
Okay. Their reproductive systems are exploited and they're forced to produce much more milk than they normally would. The average cow today produces more than 4 times as much milk as cows did in 1950. Alright, you know, this all sounds like factory farming, and that's pretty fucking terrible, but how does this make cheese and milk sexist? Is it the fact that it's being forced out of them through, like, tragic and terrible means? Oh my god. Can cows consent? You know what? Next time you decide to artificially inseminate a cow in order to get more beef and veal and cheese and milk, I think you should probably ask for their consent to be artificially inseminated. You know, just go up to the cow and say, hey, you know, I'm about to put semen in your reproductive organs in order for you to make a calf that I'll drag out using chains. Do you consent to that? I'll take that as a yes. Alright, Steve, get my GIMP mask. A cow's natural lifespan is about 20 years. Those used by the dairy industry live only 5 years on average before their bodies wear out from the strain of constant pregnancy, birth, and drastically increased lactation. They are slaughtered, and their flesh is typically turned into soup, ground beef, or dog and cat food because their bodies are too spent to be used for anything else. That's called meat, that a lot of people eat. Mothers and all females deserve better. Except my ex-wife. Help end violence, reproductive control, and rape of females of animal species who desperately need us to speak up for them. Try delicious plant-based milk, vegan cheese, and dairy-free yogurt. Our vegan mentors can answer your questions and help you leave sexism off your plate. Do you remember that recent episode of Last Week Tonight where John Oliver talked about Alex Jones promoting things constantly and basically being a giant promoter of products? Like how after the chemtrails make frogs gay thing, he promoted filtered water and whatnot.
We sell 5 different brands of the very best water filtration systems out there. They're amazing. They cut out 99.99% of the glyphosate.
It sure seems like he was using the idea of a gay frog to sell his products, which, incidentally, is the same mistake the WB network made. and listen.
That's what this kind of reads like. It's like, you know what, the meat industry and the cow industry, it's rapists and sexist. So you should try stuff made from plants. And you can buy this now. Just call in this free number. And the best part about this is that it ends with this button that says, I pledge to go vegan to help end sexism. I tried to fuck a vegan. Let's press this button and see what happens. And it says, pledge to go vegan. I just need to put in my first name, my last name, and my email address, and then my phone number. And it's basically to sign up for PETA. Which, fuck that shit. But yeah, that did not tell me at all about how to make cheese. Now, it told me about where milk comes from, but it didn't really talk about why cheese is sexist. It only talked about artificial insemination into cows that don't know any better. You're basically criticizing how they make milk, and I hope that, you know, if we're buying milk and cheese products, we do it in a safe way. Hopefully it doesn't harm the animal. It's done, you know, where it's not harming them whatsoever. But at the same time, this doesn't mean that all cheese is sexist and all milk is sexist and you're a rape apologist. Again, my son is a really good swimmer, but you know, PETA is just an organization that really cares about the well-being of animals and doesn't want to see them slaughtered or exploited. They're just a very nice organization that happens to kill over 36,000 animals in captivity. Wait a minute. That's not ethical treatment of animals at all. If you're killing animals in captivity, then by golly, that's unethical. Like, it's been shown through many different newspapers and websites, but yeah, PETA is not really great when it comes to animals. There's even a website called PETAkillsanimals.com that says that not only has PETA killed more than 36,000 animals since 1998, the year I was born, they also say 97.3% of animals under PETA's care have been killed in 1 year. Less than 3% of animals in PETA's care survive. That shouldn't be the case for someone who cares so much about animals. There was even memes that go around that saying how much PETA makes money off of animal abuse. And it's to be believed because, my god, there's been articles in The Atlantic and Raw Story that talk all about the different abuses and the killings of animals that PETA has committed over the years. It's all just really fucked up. That's one of the reasons why I do not want to support an organization like PETA. And I'm all for animal rights. Like, I believe that we should shut down, like, mills that endanger animals and kill them in inhumane ways. I believe that we should stop factory farming that hurts animals. And if we're going to get other meats or animal byproducts, then we need to do it in a humane and less painful way. Now, in America, I'd say that PETA is probably the most well-known animal rights organization, which is sad because of how shady their practices are. So I want to give a list of 5 animal rights organizations that aren't PETA and don't hurt animals in captivity that you should spend your time researching because, well, they're not PETA. Alright, 5 animal rights organizations better than PETA. Alright, so the first one is probably the most famous of these organizations. It's the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, which is the ASPCA. You might know them for this.
My nigga, you just got roasted!
But I can assure you that other than an incident in 2012 where they tried to pay off some people during a Ringling Brothers case, which made the CEO step down, so at least they're trying to make up for that. They've actually done a lot of great work. Back in the 20th century, they did a lot for animal health care. They developed anesthesia for animals, as well as performed the first open-heart surgery on a dog. They've also checked in animals that have been lost, as it says on Wikipedia. For instance, prior to Hurricane Gustav making landfall in Louisiana on September 1st, 2008, the SPCA checked in more than 800 animals into a shelter located in Shreveport. The SPCA, along with the American Humane Association, maintained a 24-hour presence at the shelter. And they're very much pro-pets, which is something that PETA is not. And yeah, you could talk about pets being a bit of a weird thing because it's kind of like slavery. But yeah, they're very much pro-adoption. So, you know, at least they want animals to go to a good home and not die in a cage because the humans can't have them. They also do a lot of work with companion animals, with poison control, with animal shelters. They're a great organization, to my knowledge. This is my personal favorite. It's located in Manchester, England, and it's the Captive Animals Protection Society, or CAPS. They've done a lot with exposing animal cruelty in captivity or in other places. In 2004, it commissioned the largest and most in-depth investigation ever made into the public aquarium industry, revealing most animals to have been taken from the wild and disputing conservation claims by the industry. They also investigated the legal protection of animals in zoos to make sure that there wasn't any illegal wrongdoing done against the animals. In 2013, CAPS launched a new campaign entitled The Fight for Flight. The campaign seeks to outlaw the practice of pinioning of birds in zoos. They've also campaigned against the use of animals in circuses, which is another big problem, especially when you're considering the endangerment of elephants. They might not have the star power of PETA, where it has people like Christina Applegate or Betty White, but they do have the lead singer of Jamiroquai. 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 Kuai? Either way, the guy's name is JK. Compassion Over Killing. It's based in Washington, D.C. And while it's also kind of like PETA in that it promotes a way of life, in this case vegetarian eating, they're perfectly fine with people who eat meat, which is kind of like what I am. Like, yeah, it'd be nice if you were vegetarian, but, you know, do what you gotta do. I'm pretty sure that steak looks pretty juicy. But they've investigated stuff. Let me just read the headlines of this Wikipedia article because I'm a lazy sack of shit. Egg Farms, Central Valley Meat, Quanai Cattle Company, Pilgrim's Pride Chicken Factory Farm, Foster Farms Turkey Hatchery, Mountain Farms, Quality Pork Processors at Hormel. They've also had an innovative legal advocacy program. Their main focus is factory farming, and they seem to be a very great organization that's very lenient to anyone. So, check them out. So, if you want a good organization, try COCK. Friends of Animals, it's a non-profit advocacy organization. It's fought against animal testing. It's filed lawsuits against the JFK International Airport because they were killing endangered birds. The best part about it is that, well, let me just read this section called Primarily Primates. In 2006, the organization came to the defense of operators of Primarily Primates, a sanctuary near San Antonio, Texas, that housed hundreds of chimpanzees, monkeys, and other animals that had outlived their usefulness as research subjects, movie props, or pets. After PETA intervened, control of the sanctuary was put into control of a receiver by way of an emergency injunction. Friends of Animals paid the legal bills of the operators who were trying to get control back of their sanctuary. Eventually, Friends of Animals got more involved with the sanctuary, and now this sanctuary is one of their programs. So they kicked PETA's ass. How cool is that? That's definitely a stamp of approval from me. In Defense of Animals, IDA, which is located in San Rafael, California. And it's actually done some pretty cool things, like it set dolphins off the coast of Japan free by swimming underwater to cut the nets that imprisoned them. How fucking cool is that? It stopped a bunch. It's also campaigned to stop animal testing at different universities. Yeah, it's had campaigns that were supported by PETA, but they were good campaigns. Like campaign against Rockefeller University's neurophysiology experiments on cats. And yeah, animal testing is a bit of a touchy subject, but you know, it's still. I'll do it. I need money. I'll pull a Robert Rodriguez.
Somebody ring the dingster!
It's also campaigned against elephants being held captive in zoos. And they seem to be a decent organization that hasn't had a lot of problems like PETA. Even though they're supported by PETA a lot. It's kind of like Chris Ray Gunn and Sargon. It's like, you have a problematic friend, but you do you. But yeah, those are 5 organizations that are all better than PETA. PETA is a shitty, murderous organization. I can't state that enough. It's just don't support PETA. Tens of thousands of animals have been killed by PETA since 1998. They only let less than 3% of their animals survive in a given year. It's maddening that they have the audacity to publicly shame people when they themselves are unethical towards animals. They have the audacity to compare the American Kennel Club to the KKK. And I'm sorry, I didn't see the American Kennel Club at Charlottesville this weekend. So I don't know what you're talking about. And if somebody doesn't stop them, they're going to continue to harm animals and be pretty much what they're fighting against. It's pretty hypocritical of them to go out and make these sexy, objectifying commercials promoting their organization and then have the balls, the fucking balls, to say that cheese and milk is sexist, and if you consume them, you're also a rape apologist. I'm going to provide links in the description to all the organizations that I mentioned that are better than PETA, because I don't want people to be supporting an organization that murders animals, that makes bullshit claims about the state of factory farming. A practice that needs to be fought against, or at the very least made safer. But instead, they decide to make these claims that cheese is sexist. Like, what are they going to do now? Say milk is racist? She dressed so slutty. Do you remember when there were good animal rights organizations? Pepper Ridge Farms remembers.